Hello, everyone, and welcome to Summertime with HWA. It's July, it's hot, we're outside more, we're active, but we must remember to stay safe. So, Dr. BCW and I would like to explore a few topics, starting with number one, do Black people really need sunscreen? Moving into number two, we gotta talk pool safety because the kids are out, the kids love the water, and we have to be smart about pool safety. And number three, I am the seatbelt police, so please wear your seatbelts.
I'm so glad that we're talking about this, Eugene. All three topics are things that are life-saving. And yes, you may not think sunscreen can be life-saving, but it can be. So I'm excited to share this information in hopes that we can help you possibly prevent something that could be a complication or change the trajectory of your life just through talking about these three important topics.
For sure. So let's start with Black skin versus sunscreen. So as a darker skinned person, the common belief was that I'm already protected from the sun. So what's the big deal? Now, it is true that additional melanin provides additional protection. However, it's far from enough. Black people do fall victim to different types of skin cancers and die more often because of it due to late or no diagnosis.
I'm glad we're talking about this, Eugene, because often people are surprised that regardless of your skin tone, anybody can get sunburned or skin cancer. Often people of color feel, well, I have melanin, and so that protects me from getting sunburned or skin cancer. And so, yes, having melanin is important and is protective and can help block some UV rays. However, it cannot block all UV rays. And so when you take that into consideration, it helps you really understand that when you have long-term exposure to sun and not wearing sunblock can actually increase your risk of developing skin cancer. Now, when I mention that, an important piece that people are surprised about as well is a term called acral lentiginous melanoma, or ALM. So I'll stop right there. When I say a big term like that, people are like, why should I care? Well, I'm going to give you a name that I think people are often surprised about that actually died from skin cancer. So we have all heard of the amazing Bob Marley. Well, he passed away from skin cancer at the age of 36. I hope that really resonates with people of color to realize, yes, this can happen to you. So ALM, it's a skin cancer that is found in areas that do not have hair often. And so when you think of like the palms of your hands, your feet, under your nails, all of those places are prone and can develop skin cancer.
Those are things that I'm sure I know for myself, I have not thought about. Under the nails, the other side of my hands. So having people be exposed to that information, I think is truly life-saving. And you won't meet many people that don't know who Bob Marley was, don't have a favorite Bob Marley song. You can go anywhere in the face of the earth, and that is one of the artists that you will probably hear in the background of a beach or restaurant, etc. So thank you for sharing that. Next, the frustrating history of Black people and swimming. When Africans were first dragged to this country as slaves 400 plus years ago, many of us were great swimmers. We were coming from coastal countries. And of course, these skills were immediately put to use when we came here to the US, fishing, boating, etc. However, once Black people began migrating from the South to the North, we set up lives in cities like Philly, but we had less access to beaches and pools. So what happened next? Many of those same families began doing pretty well financially and decided to move to small suburban boroughs outside of the city, like a town called Yeadon, Y-E-A-D-O-N, Yeadon, Pennsylvania. It's in Delaware County, literally less than a mile from Southwest Philly. So the good news is, some of these boroughs, Yeadon being one of them, they had pools. That's great news. The bad news is white people refuse to grant access to those pools. So what did we do? We did what Black folk do. We make a way, we find a way. A small group of Black people created our own pool across town in 1959. The Nile, the first Black-owned swim club in the US, was born. So I give that history lesson just to emphasize the fact that Black people do enjoy swimming. We enjoy the water. We enjoy pools, the beaches. Some of the best swimmers that I know personally, they're Black, and they are difficult to pull out of the water once they are enjoying a sunny day in the pool. Yes, and access has been an issue, and access has been a generational issue in this country for many years. As of 2021, close to 70% of Black children still cannot swim, which puts us at a great risk of drowning.
So when you mentioned 70% of Black children do not know how to swim, you have to think about why and why we haven't done anything about it. Yeah. And so it's access, it's being able to, learn about swimming, and also just the opportunity to have a life-saving skill. And I call it life-saving because, when we think about preventable deaths, you have to also talk about drownings, and that is a preventable death. And the CDC recently reported approximately 3,000 preventable drownings are happening each year. And it's important to remember that a drowning can happen quicker than you think. So I want to share a couple of tips that can help you and your family members. It's important to know that even the strongest swimmer can have an issue. And it really takes me back to about a year and a half ago, there was an Olympic swimmer who almost drowned. And so while she was swimming, she fainted. And luckily, her coach was there to save her life. That's a great example of having someone else around you when you are swimming. Another tip that's near and dear to my heart is what I call timeshare. I've been at the pool or the beach with groups of, with families, and there's this false sense that everybody is watching out for everyone's children. But what is actually happening is no one's really watching. When that happens, it opens the opportunity to miss if your child is struggling while they're swimming. So I really recommend to try scheduling times, having each person take a block of time, which allows everyone to not only have a good time, but a safe time. Those are just a couple of tips that I hope can help you or someone enjoy water in a safe way.
Yeah, and we deserve that. We deserve to swim and enjoy water in a safe way. And as parents, we are automatically programmed to protect. We want to protect our little ones. That is what we do. If we're scared of water, we're going to the kids will feel that. And then the kids will also want to be in water less than we want them to be. But find some place that you trust, a person that you trust, the YMCA. They still give lessons. Lots of kids still learn how to swim at the Y. Take them there. Go.
That's where I learned.
And that's where I partially learned. And I learned, yes. Quick story, super quick. I learned as an adult, and I'm still, I thought it was important enough for me to learn how to swim. This is maybe 10 years ago. So I'm no great swimmer, but I'm much more comfortable in the water now. And I always kind of joke that swimming and dancing are kind of the same thing for me. I'm not great at either one, but I'm always a willing participant. So I'm glad I did it because I'm much less afraid of the water. Most of my family, my siblings, children, nieces, nephews, they can swim. So I'm now able to get in the water and at least play around and have fun. And enjoy it. Perfect transition to protecting our kids because I am the seatbelt police. And when I see people with a child in a car that without a seatbelt on, and God forbid, not a child seat, because my head will literally explode, it makes me very upset. So let me read you a super quick excerpt from a particular article to kind of paint a really good picture on just how serious it is when it comes to Black people versus the seatbelt. So, according to the U.S. Department of Transportation, the number one leading cause of unintentional injury death for all Black people is motor vehicle crashes. Motor vehicle crashes are the leading cause of death for Black people ages 1 to 14. Of those killed while passengers in a vehicle, 52% of those Black children were not restrained at the time of the crash. Though wearing a seatbelt is the best way to avoid injury, Black people are still failing to buckle up. These problems have become so severe that has become declared a public health emergency. Some of the ridiculous reasons, and I threw the word ridiculous in there because this is just beyond mind-boggling, for not wearing a seatbelt, because it's not cool. Ridiculous. It's uncomfortable. I'm a safe driver, and children, once out of the car seat, they've aged out of the car seat, they're fine in the back seat with no seatbelts. All ridiculous, all incredibly dangerous. And I really do hope that people start wearing seatbelts more often and make sure that people around you are also wearing their seatbelts.
You know, throughout my career as a physician, it's really been unfortunate to see where some people could have survived an accident or had less complications if they were wearing a seatbelt. We look at different types of injuries, different things that happen. And just by really imagining if some areas of your body are protected, especially your heart, your brain, all of those factors, which a seatbelt can be so vital because it prevents that impact. That can be your ability to survive an accident. So I think that part is so important that we have to think about how a seatbelt protects you. One part that you mentioned when you were sharing how, with swimming, when we might share that we're scared to get in the water, or with seatbelts as a parent, if we are kind of showing that you don't have to wear a seatbelt. Think of how that leads into that kind of history of next generation not learning how to swim, or the next generation doesn't have you buckle up. There's power in that story of what you can do to save your life, your family's life, and others. So I think that part is huge.
I could not agree more. And it's learned behavior is undefeated. If you simply get in the car as the parent and buckle up every time, kids are sponges. They know they're going to do the same thing. They are the ultimate imitators. And then, the more that you kind of push that forward within their lifestyle, when they get into someone else's car, they're going to buckle up. It's like automatic. It's not even when I sit in a car as a child, I'm going to buckle up. And you look at the other kids like, what are you doing? I mean, even when you may have a passenger in your car that doesn't immediately buckle up, that person probably doesn't normally buckle up. I don't move. But what are you waiting for?
Right.
I shouldn't have to tell you this, but since I do, put on your seatbelt. It's not even worth the risk of even going around the block until everyone buckles up. And guys, again, this is a really important topic because we drive more in the summer. And the other part of that is something's happened since COVID where people are driving more aggressively. I don't know if it's just a Northeast thing or if it's been a problem throughout the country, but I mean, accidents are way up, even to the point where in Philly anyway, there are speed bumps and other mechanisms to help people not kill themselves and kill others that weren't there prior to COVID. So let's help each other out and buckle up. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This has been great. Please leave comments, send direct messages. Hit me up if you want to learn more about the Now. I did an injustice when I went through that history really quickly, but it is one of the most important historically influential landmarks, quite honestly, not only in the state of Pennsylvania, but in the country. So please want to learn more about that. I am more than happy to share with you. And also, I can get you a t-shirt. I know a guy. But in the spirit of public health, let's take care of each other. Let's be healthy. Let's be better. And let's just keep living better together.
Yes. Thank you, Eugene. I'm so glad that we're able to share this. This is what delivery of healthcare is about. It's about talking about things, highlighting things, and just helping people. So as you mentioned, just let us know, any topics, anything that you want to talk about, please tell us. That's what we're here for. And we are just truly grateful just to have you listen.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye.